championship brackets. And here we go, jumping into game number 2.
Yep, and away we go. Up in the top left-hand corner is going to be Suppy again. Team Evil Geniuses must be quite pleased with his results, and he is playing on Belshir Vestige. Down in the bottom right-hand corner is his opponent. In the blue trunks is Blackra, or Blue Protoss. This particular map, I am 100% fond of. I love it. It is an absolutely great addition to the map pool. Drop play is heavily rewarded. Air play is heavily rewarded. It does favor players who are aggressive. You can take thirds on this and defend them. However, that being said, they can be taken quite quickly as well if you're not paying attention to what's going on. It is a somewhat small map, so transitions between one base to the other are quite quick, especially with speedlings. That being said, it is not unbelievably small like Neoplanet S, for example. But that being said, it is also a single spawn location for each player, so they know exactly where each other are. Scouting is going to be very quick, so any kind of surprises out of the box may come with this particular map, but at the same token, they can be somewhat delayed and held off.
Those are some wonderful points, Nightshade. Just something I want to add a little bit on top of that. When you say very good for drop play, if you guys know, keeping up with the patches for Blizzard, there's been a lot of things happening, and one of those things just recently hit is the Warp Prism buff. They are so much quicker. You don't have to worry about getting an upgrade. You just make it and you fly Superman speed and do whatever damage you want to do. So that's a big option that can be open here for Blackra. We might see some early Warp Prism play. We might even see just a 2-base timing. He did try to go for a quick third base. Maybe that's not going to happen so well on this map, but at the same time, that third base by the Zerg player, if there's a bunch of Zealots here and a quick 4-gate is going to be happening from the Protoss, they can definitely catch you a little bit with your pants down. But those are just going to be some questions we have to see. But builds so far, same exact thing going on from last game. Spawning pool first from Suppy, hatchery to follow. But it looks like Blackra actually might be going for a gateway expand this time, and in fact it is.
Yeah, maybe a gateway expand. We'll just see in a moment. He may even go for a 4-gate. I do think you're right on the gateway expand. It makes the most sense. He
right under the Nexus, there's the gateway. Right there.
Yep. There it is. Yep, I do see it. It does make sense. He is scouting his opponent, throwing down a pylon, actually, trying to keep Suppy on his guard, but doesn't have a forge of it to follow it up. So I don't think he's going to be cannon rushing. I think this is more to scare Suppy into doing something like produce a bunch of Zerglings. And only 2 are on the way as it sits right now. It does cancel that one pylon, knowing I think that bait is not going to work.
Yeah, that was a nice little move from Blackra. You know, if Suppy was thinking his opponent was going for a Nexus first or a Forge expand, he would have spotted it. He does have an Overlord there on the map. He was at the natural. He's at the main. He sees no Nexus. He's okay. The timing of this is not a Nexus first. This has to be a gateway expand. He's going to go ahead and spot the gateways, sees the Cybernetics core getting Chrono boosted. Mothership core pops out now for Blackra, and this is going to be that small little point in the game where Blackra is going to have map control. He can send over that Mothership core to the natural, to the main to deal some damage, but if Suppy goes up to something like 2 or 3 queens, that early pressure is going to be absolutely negated, and there's a Nexus coming down from Blackra. So 4-gate definitely was a possibility, but I think Blackra wants to play a little bit safer in game number 2.
Well, he has to. At this particular point in time, in a best of 3, he needs to win this game if he wants to stay in the winner's bracket. So otherwise, he's going to get knocked down to the losers in the first round. He doesn't want that, so he's going to probably play quite conservatively, take it easy, really work on his foundation. Don't make any really kind of stupid mistakes for whatever reason or another, and stay on top of that. As you can see, that Mothership core is going absolutely nowhere. He's going to keep it in place to prevent any kind of Zergling run-bys, and you can see Stalker down as well to help prevent with any kind of early pressure by Suppy. And as you can see, Suppy's not even bothering to worry about that. He's just going to continue to macro right on up, and things are looking quite good. He must be feeling confident after taking that win in game number 1.
I completely agree, and something I want to note about the production tab, this is a standard transition Zerg players do in ZVP upon scouting a gateway expand, is just get your gas, get your speed, have the map control in case of any sort of incoming pressure. That usually comes around the 8 to 8:30 minute mark. Of course, in that case, it would just be a swell of Zealots trying to get a quick win. And then, when you feel comfortable enough, you would take a third base, but Suppy is actually going for the Roach Warren, and he's making some Zerglings. His speed is about 70% completed, and I have a feeling we might see a little bit of a push out here, unless he wants to play this a little bit defensive. It can honestly go both ways.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. It can. He's not grabbing the gas, or sorry, I stand corrected. He is grabbing the gas again. He's not grabbing an additional gas, though. So I don't think he's going to be going for anything too aggressive. I think this is more of a defensive thing. He would, no, I stand corrected. He is grabbing another gas. So perhaps he might be going for roach speed and then do a fairly aggressive 2-base timing push with roaches and lings. That would hit reasonably well. And Blackra, I think, making almost the same mistake as last time, throwing down that third Nexus really, really quickly, again, well before the 8-minute mark. And as we can see, Zergling's showing up, and it all has to be canceled. But he does recoup those funds instead of losing it like last time.
Yeah, that's all Suppy wanted. He just wanted to send in the links, get a cancel. Now he finds himself able to take that third base, getting his layer. He can now go back to drone production. And now what he has to do is he has to just keep tab on that third base. If it's going to be retaken, he can play macro. If this is not going to be a quick third and might be even a little bit of a fake out, then he wants to go ahead and produce some units to be able to defend any kind of a push. But indeed, Blackra doesn't really mind. He's going to go ahead and retake that base. Back in the production tab for Suppy. We're seeing a transition into these upgrades as we see the first evolution chamber being started, 3 roaches being started as well. So this can actually, like I said before, I keep saying this a lot, but Suppy is very good at knowing when to make units and when to make drones. He knows there's a possibility of a little bit of a cancel and a little bit of harassment, but he's going to make some roaches just to be safe and straight back into the drone production as we see 7 now in the production tab.
Yep, and there we go. Plus, we do have the +1 missile attacks being researched, and you do see on the production tab as well that more and more drones are being produced. This is probably the most important skill set any good Zerg player will get, even at any league or any level, determining when to make units as opposed to when making drones. And the reality is you only have one larvae. What do you do with that larvae? Do you make a drone or do you make a unit? And so that's all about timing and decision making. Suppy obviously showing his wealth of experience in being able to make those decisions, and he's doing an absolutely brilliant job of precisely that. Still continuing to macro like crazy. Just a small number of units as you see out front of his natural, and looks like they're just going to shuffle on down while they're on the creep, which is starting to rapidly expand on out.
And I'm going to give props to where props is due, Nightshade. I love this hallucination play by Blackra. He's able to scout the tech, he's able to see the saturation of the Zerg player, and he's able to see if he's making any units so he can go ahead and make something in return to go ahead and defend it. But Suppy's going for Hydralisks. And if a Zerg is going for Hydralisks, you generally want to be hitting a timing. You do not want to have Hydralisks in the mid-game. And slowly but surely, we're going to see Blackra really transition into this heavy Void Ray play. One already on the map. He's going to go transition as well into a robotic space. So we're going to have Colossi against Hydralisks, and it's a pretty even, actually I don't want to say even, that was the wrong word to use, but it's a pretty easy way to kind of tell which unit's going to win. Is it the Hydralisk or is it the Colossus, Nightshade?
Well, if there's roaches in front tanking and the DPS of the Hydralisk working away on the Colossus, I'm sorry to say, Mr. Colossus, but you're probably not going to make it home.
I like that explanation. That was very logical.
Somebody's going to have to write a letter to your family, although he's a robot, so does that count? But either way, Void Ray is now out on the map. Voiders do well against roaches, not so good against Hydralisk. We do have Hydralisk out on the map, and it looks like Muscular Augments is going to finish in 10 seconds. That'll give that those Hydras an unbelievable boost in speed, and we do have some visitors knocking on the front door. Blackra, you've got some trouble. Suppy is having some fun.
We're having some roaches and Hydras, of course, going to try to get us around here. Nice time warp there by Blackra. We'll be able to negate the Zerglings and Hydras from trying to surround the units here, but that's just so much. I mean, units count. How many Hydras is that? That's 16 Hydralisks, 3 roaches hitting right before Colossi are anywhere on the map here for Blackra, and he's had that Robo Bay for a little bit of time. I think he might have even been able to Chrono Boost it a little bit quicker to possibly be able to hold this, but 1 Colossus I don't think is going to be enough against us. Still, I thought there was a little bit of harassment at the third base, but scratch that. Now we're going to see the units make their way towards the third base. There are 3 cannons, absolutely not going to be enough. Units count for Blackra. 2 Void Rays and a Stalker. That is not going to be enough, and it looks like Suppy is very close to taking a 2-0 win here over his first opponent in this round.
Indeed, it does look exactly like that. There's just enough units here to really do as much damage as he chooses to. Suppy continuing to work away, dropping that Mothership Core. Huge loss, unfortunately, and not able to get down another Photon Overcharge on that Nexus. Just not enough energy and not able to do so. And that Nexus is going to fall very, very quickly. Blackra in a lot of trouble. Kind of a do or die moment. He's just warping in a couple additional units here, but I don't think 2 Void Rays, a Colossus, and a lot of probes in a couple of sentries is going to be able to hold this off. There's just so many more units in production. 12 more Hydras on the way, and a big GG. And that's it. Yeah, 2-0. Suppy does take the victory, and he will advance on.
Indeed. Well played by Suppy, taking a quick 2-0 win over his opponent. And, you know, that was not really surprising, honestly. I really felt that Suppy played a very good game in terms of scouting, figuring out, again, he's going to be going for that quick third. Let's go ahead and just make some units. I'm not all in with this. I'm just making something to keep him on his toes, whether he wants to cancel or whether he really, really wants to be taking that quick third. And Suppy, you just, very solid 2-0. Not much more to say about that. I mean, if you have any final words, Nightshade.
No, I can't add to that. It's pretty much bang on. It's Suppy, very, very clean and easy two victories.
Indeed. So, guys, what we're going to do now is we'll be taking another little break, and we'll still be going through these brackets. I hope you guys are enjoying the commentary. You are welcome to follow us on our social medias, as you can see on the overlays. We have Nightshade's beautiful Twitter is at NightShadeSC2. You're welcome to follow Josiah, who's a little bit silent over there, just having fun and watching the games. I think his Twitter is JJLEDSC. You can follow myself, of course, Promise at PromiseCast. All of these are on Twitter. And grab your snacks, because we have some amazing games that we're still going to be going through. We're going to be here all night. We're going to be drinking beers, and I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. But we'll be here for a very long time. So we'll be back after this quick commercial break. Stay tuned.